Welcome into the NBA Today free agency special presented by ESPN Bet. The landscape of the NBA has shifted since we saw each other 26 hours ago. We saw trades and deals continue to pour in as they did through the wee hours of the morning. So here to break down the madness, our highly caffeinated team here, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson. Oh, there he is. He decided to join our show.
Thanks for coming out.
In that seafoam green suit.
Somebody said my name.
He just wanted an entrance.
I've
been here just waiting for the entrance.
Welcome to the party. He's got his coffee. Brian Windhorst, Zach Lowe. I'm Malika Andrews. Gentlemen, we start our show not with Mr. Seafoam Green over here, but with the end of a dynasty because Klay Thompson has agreed to a 3-year, $50 million contract with the Dallas Mavericks, ending his historic 13-year run with the 4-time champion Golden State Warriors. It's according to our Woj. Now, LeBron James called Thompson right when free agency opened in an attempt to bring the 34-year-old to L.A., but Thompson will instead be teaming up with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. This is the dismantling of one of the all-time great trios in basketball. Woj is here to make sense of it all with us. So, Woj, what led Klay to leaving Golden State and ultimately landing here in Dallas?
Well, I think everybody could see for really most of the past year that Klay Thompson was very likely playing his final season in Golden State, and certainly nothing changed at the end of the season between he and the organization where you ever got a sense this was anything but the end. And I think what really energized Klay Thompson, I'm told, was just how aggressive Dallas was. They made it clear to him that he was their #1 target in free agency. And, Klay Thompson had watched the Mavs in the playoffs and really saw with that team where he could help, the way he'd fit in there. They certainly, it's a team that certainly could use some shooting. And the idea of playing with Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, it made a lot of sense to him. The Lakers were intriguing to Klay Thompson. Obviously, his dad plays there. He lives in L.A. He grew up around it. But I think financially, certainly the difference between Texas and California played a part in it. Again, 3 years, $50 million. And he spent last night with his agent, Greg Lawrence, Nico Harrison, Michael Finley, the Dallas front office. They were over at the Bottle Inn in Hermosa, which is near Klay Thompson's home, a restaurant over there that he frequents, and spent a lot of time talking about what it would look like. And he went to bed last night while intrigued with the Lakers and all that would present itself for him, his history there. He felt really drawn to the Mavs. And when he woke up this morning, he told his agent, let's get the deal done with Dallas.
Wow. And so now we see Klay Thompson on his way to Dallas. Woj, thank you so very much. We're going to dive into what all of this means for Los Angeles, how they lost out, how much more dangerous this makes Dallas. But I just want to pause here for 1 second, if we could, because I think we all expected that this would come, but this is the end of a dynasty. It's still shocking to see it. Klay Thompson, he was synonymous with the Bay Area, right? I mean, when Oakland was a punchline and the Warriors were kind of the laughingstock, essentially toiling at the bottom of the league, it was Thompson and Draymond Green and ultimately Steph Curry who changed all of that. So, Zach, can you just help us contextualize how seismic this move is?
I mean, it's not as seismic today given the state of everything, but this is the end of something magical in basketball. These three guys came together, and Curry is the head of it, no question, but they resuscitated a franchise, they made it into a dynasty, and they played a style that nobody else played. And Klay was part of that. He was as ferocious. Don't let the SoCal laid-back Captain Klay on the water fool you. This dude is an absolute killer, as ferocious a competitor as there is in the league. Rod Adams, the sage of Golden State's coaching staff, once told me he loses the way you want a player to lose. It strikes him in the heart. We don't need to go over the big moments, the big shots. There are so many of them. But the Splash Brothers are no more. They're separated. And that ovation, when he comes back, is going to be thunderous and long. And honestly, it's a little bit sad that it ended acrimoniously. I think everybody needs to look in the mirror, including the Golden State brass, and ask themselves, how did we let it get to this point? Leaving is one thing. Leaving on semi-bad terms is not how this should have ended.
But was it magical? Was it magical?
Yes.
Because it was magical, but the Warriors ain't treated like it was magical. They had a golden opportunity to show the rest of the league how you treat a veteran on his way out, especially a guy that then hung banners, 4 banners in that arena, and they treated him like they basically was the 5 heartbeats. They treated him like Eddie Kane Jr., like an outcast. Look, Klay Thompson went there on 3-year, $50 million. What did Golden State offer him? 2-year, $48. So basically, it was the same money, right? This was personal for Klay Thompson. Why he left? He felt like he was disrespected the entire season. The Warriors did nothing, right, to make him feel right. That's not how you treat a veteran, a guy that then hung banners.
I had the pleasure of being with Klay his rookie year. And then the next year, that's when they brought in Draymond. That's when they brought in Harrison Barnes. That's when Steph took off to that another level. For me, watching him grow into a dominant player and seeing how much he meant to the franchise, the organization. But I've seen this before. I saw it when Jason Kidd left New Jersey. He turned the franchise around, and they were like, you're on your end. We don't know what we want to do. And guess where he ended up? He ended up in Dallas with still left in the tank and won another championship. So we see this often. I will say this about Klay. The Warriors look really bad right now. Say what you want about a competitor who feels like he's disrespected, and Klay, how he's been up and down. At the end of the day, this looks far worse on the Golden State Warriors for not being able to get a guy that's still averaging 18 at 39% shooting. You're not able to bring him back with really, we're not seeing much of a plan around it.
So to Perk's point, Brian, I mean, what does it mean that Klay ultimately chose to go with the Dallas Mavericks versus the Lakers and ultimately the Warriors?
It means he's angry.
Yeah.
He's angry. Things a lot of times end badly, otherwise they wouldn't end. That's a famous saying for a reason. You know, the Warriors were in Chicago this last year when the Bulls were celebrating the, I don't know, whatever year it was. And you remember,
the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Jerry Krause, who's passed away, got booed, if you remember. And I remember, you know, Steve Kerr was out there when it happened. And I remember thinking, like, this is sort of a warning to the Warriors. Don't, when you come together in 15 or 20 years, don't get booed. But it's hard. It's hard to end things this way. And look, the reason that they stopped playing him is because he wasn't getting it done. The reason that they only offered him, what's that?
Yeah, I'm thinking of the 0 for 10 in the, the play-in game and all that. But
they felt that the other players were better options.
Well, no, let me also say this really quickly. I've never shared this before out of respect to Klay. Getting off the elevator Christmas Day. This is on Christmas Day.
Of this past year?
Of this past year. I get off the elevator and I see Klay. I'm like, oh, Klay, what's up? He's like, oh, what's up? I'm like, hey, man, keep your mentals right. He's like, man, tell him to pay me my money. This was on Christmas Day. So on Christmas Day, a guy that had won 4 championships, and I don't give a damn what anybody says, how much money they gave him over the years, because he turned their franchise around. That franchise is worth billions of dollars, not just because of Steph, it's also because of Klay. They changed the game. It wasn't just Steph changing the game. It was Steph and Klay in that backcourt.
Absolutely.
So I say this. He has a right to be mad.
He bet on himself.
Yes.
He said, I don't want the 2 years, $48 million. He bet on himself, and then he didn't have a good year.
But that's fine. That's
his
fine.
standard.
You can have hundreds of millions and have a bad year and be like, you know what that does? That means if you're going to treat me this way, I'm going to go someplace else. And now the Warriors are left, and Klay's in a much better situation than the Warriors are.
And he walked for nothing.
And walked for nothing.
Almost nothing. They got 2 second-round picks.
That's nothing.
But here's the thing. Even Klay bad year was better than a lot of guys' great year.
I agree with that, and they were willing to pay him $24 million a year.
Yeah, but Wendy, it goes back to the point of what he watched other guys get, right? When you go back to watching Draymond Green, if you go look at when he got his $100 million, his stat line wasn't eye candy.
Ooh.
It damn sure wasn't attractive.
And it wasn't coming off a perfect year either.
Yeah, so it was almost as if, you know, they were paying him for what he done in the past and not what he's going to be able to offer in the future. Klay like, well, damn. I was part of this, and I helped build this. Why I'm not getting the same respect?
Yeah, but he had reasons to turn it down. I'm not saying he had his reasons to turn it down, but then he was playing in a situation where they literally said, we're going to take you out to finish games, we're going to take you out of the starting lineup. Like, that happened.
I think timing is important here. So Wiggins gets his new deal, and Klay's looking around at all this. Wiggins gets his new deal after they win the title and after he plays the best basketball of his life. Draymond gets his new deal a year later after in the second round. The difference is he's an unrestricted free agent. It's a now or never kind of thing. Klay had time left. I'm not saying it's right. And like, if you're Klay, you helped make this team what it is, and the bitterness is completely justified.
But at the end of the day, the Golden State Warriors, they have to be thinking, okay, what's the best way to maximize the end of Steph Curry's career? And I guess they've decided that Klay Thompson is no longer a part of that picture. So, Brian, can the Warriors still put a contender around?